Hey, this is My Village Podcast. Got on the podcast today Andy, as always, and special guest John Doc Fro, and I'm Eli, as always. How you guys doing?
As always, say as always one more time.
As always.
Oh, as always.
Okay.
As always.
Oh, okay.
As always.
As always.
So, how are you most of the time?
As always.
As always. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you're John Doc Fro, as always.
John
Yeah,
Doc Fro,
as
as always. That's your last name.
As always.
Doc Fro.
Yeah.
Yeah. I legally changed
As
it
always.
to that.
Yes. My name is
it.
now just as always.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Andy, as always. That's your last name.
Oh no.
It's gonna be a
Already
fun one.
starting off well.
Yeah, as it does.
It's starting off so well.
As
And
always.
I'm excited to have John here with us. For this is your what? Third time?
With
You're starting
you?
to become a
Count
regular.
But third time on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. I knew that. 100%. I knew it was 2 or 3.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're almost like coming in, like, you know, on the podcast as always. You're almost at the as always part, you know.
Am I just at as right now?
Yeah, you're like
Not
as.
always?
Yeah, you're John Doc Fro as, and then
Oh,
you'll
okay.
get the always once you get on, like, you know, 2 or 3 more.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I was gonna say not just one more time. Yeah, like 3 or 4.
Yeah. Somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere
Yeah.
between like 2 and 8. Somewhere.
Yeah, as always.
As always.
Oh boy. Okay. So, do we wanna start with the gaming stuff, or do we wanna like talk about the Netflix movie? That
Well,
was terrible.
I think we start with the Netflix because the gaming thing is going to take probably the majority of this podcast. But
It's gonna take literal years.
Okay.
yeah. So last week, for our listeners, Andy and I looked at the reviews for the worst Netflix movie ever, which is the last crime in American history or something like that.
Don't look at me. That movie was I blocked it. I blocked the majority of that movie from my memory.
We did what we
Including
said
the
we'd do,
title.
and we watched it.
It was the last something crime something America.
Yeah. Something like that.
If that helps at all.
Yeah.
I know
But it's
that
terrible.
I know that the live action movie of Avatar: The Last Airbender is on Netflix, so I feel like you're wrong on worst movie.
Okay, so this is the worst movie that Netflix has ever produced.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Like the worst Netflix movie ever.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
they made this. They
thought this was.
they
a good
filmed
idea.
something. Yeah. And it was 2 hours and 40 minutes long that I will never get back in my life. No movie should be as long as like The Lord of the Rings unless it's The Lord of the Rings. Does that make sense? Does that track well with you guys? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
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 Like, this movie didn't have any depth. It was pornographic.
It was very pornographic.
Very violent. Just like, I think that I don't want to exaggerate, but I think there's blood in almost every scene of this movie.
Oh yeah, the first 10 minutes was going through so many characters I didn't know who the main character was. And there were also 2 different voices for voiceovers. So we didn't know who was narrating it. And I only made it through like 44 minutes of this movie, and I literally had to turn it off because all it was either sex scenes or they went to new locations to talk about this big old plan that they were going to do. For 44 minutes,
that's
all they did was talk and have sex.
It sounds like a good
Pretty
time,
much the
honestly.
entire... That probably continues, Eli, for about 2 hours. Probably 2 hours of just setting up the heist that they were going to do.
Yeah.
I had some questions.
Yeah, I heard that you took notes.
I wrote down my thoughts in this one scene particularly. So one of the main characters, his name is Kevin, but they kept calling him Cash,
Okay.
which I'm assuming is like his street name.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's like the dumbest street name ever. Hey, yo, Cash.
It's Cash Money.
So dumb. Cash Money.
Pretty dumb.
They couldn't call him Young Money. Copyrighted.
Yeah.
Cash is a gentleman who has just a full-on mullet, just a hairstyle that should not be in 2025 or whenever this movie was supposed to be taking place.
That's the
no.
thing. Is it
Um,
was like the future, but it was like the past? Like they were driving old cars the whole time, but
well, they're driving muscle cars, like classic muscle cars, which I mean, I get it. I don't know why. Was it like the whole idea that like they were like mobsters, so they had to drive like these like cool Fast and the Furious looking cars?
I guess. Yeah.
I don't know. So there's this whole scene with Cash where there's like a family dispute, and it's like a family of criminals, right? Like he said something along the lines of, if you don't have a bounty on your head, then everybody in the family doesn't respect you. So it's like, okay, I get it. You guys are like a mob family, right?
A little edgy, but
So so they end up at the dad's house because they're trying to form this plan. They're trying to get everything in place to like pull off the last heist in America. They're gonna rob a bank or something. And Cash and his father start having like this really heated discussion. They start talking about his stepmom. And the acting at this part is like Guatemalan like soap opera fresh. Like it's not good.
Oh.
Like we have like D-list actors try like it for some of it sounded like they were reading cue cards off camera. Like that is how like disconnected these actors were from like the roles that were playing.
Yeah.
It literally just sounded like they were like reading off of a script. So you find out that Cash slept with his stepmom because they were dating at one point in time, and then like the woman that's now his stepmom started dating his father, and so like they start having like this really fucking weird argument over like sleeping with the mom essentially. And I was like, well, this just makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Are you
Homeboy
sure?
Cash walks to. Wait, what?
I was gonna say, are you sure it's not a bad porno that you saw? 'Cause that sounds like
It would have been the
plot line.
longest porno in history.
So long. So long. So Cash walks over to the wall where there's just like a montage of like swords and like axes and stuff. And he grabs the axe off the wall, but then like the dad shoots him. But like as he's like, so dad shoots him as he's like gonna throw this axe at the dad. And then Cash falls to the floor. And they start arguing again.
While he's
And
been
it
shot?
slow pans up to the while he's been shot. And it slow pans up to the top of the father's head, and there's just an axe in his head. And he's bleeding. And clearly dead. Like he's dying, right? The main character, don't remember what his name was.
Brick.
Asks the really dumb question of, did you just kill your father? As an axe is like mounted into this man's head, and he's bleeding, like gushing blood. And you're gonna ask the question, did you just kill that man?
Even
Why
though
would you do that?
Brick
That sounds like some
killed many
angsty
people.
teenager wrote that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it was like
So then
horrible.
it was so bad. And then the next scene, they get caught for something. I was zoning in and out. They were in a trailer. They got caught for something. Brick is tied up, and like he's being beaten. And then the guy says something about "Are you ready?" And he responds, "For my lap dance." The guy then puts his gun, which he's been pistol whipping this guy with for like the past 10 minutes, where his dick should be, and starts dancing very erotically in front of him, and then proceeds to mount the man while like trying to dance, but then like also punching him. It was very uncomfortable, and that is where I officially tuned out because I didn't know what was going on.
That sounds wildly uncomfortable. I think I would have stopped well before then.
Yeah, like I
That
said,
definitely would have
Yeah.
been my stopping point.
I stopped at 44 minutes. I did not make it to any of these scenes that he's describing because I just was so done with it. I wanted to do literally anything else but sit there and watch that movie.
Yeah, the lap dance scene that made me really uncomfortable because it was just weird, and I was just like, I don't know what's happening anymore. Like, I know movies are typically like detached from reality, but like we have so far detached from reality with this movie that like I was lost and confused the entire time. And it's really sad to me that there is somebody at Netflix that watched, produced, directed, wrote this movie and thought that like this is going to be a hit.
And that's good enough to put
You know?
on Netflix.
Like imagine like you're sitting down and you pitch this in a meeting. That guy must have been
Yeah.
like high on cocaine and just this is a good idea for a movie. And then everybody else was also high on cocaine.
They had to have been. Or he got just majority vote by like a 1.
I will say, when you read the plot of the movie, it has potential to be something that would be interesting to watch. Like, it's this whole idea that like the government is putting into place this signal essentially that they can activate, and it's going to stop people in their tracks. So that's why they say it's like the last like crime in America or whatever.
The last days of
because
American crime. 2 men and a woman plan a
Yeah.
heist of the century before a government broadcast signal wipes out crime forever.
It sounds interesting, but like we needed better writers.
And actors.
Yeah, not some angsty like 13-year-old writer.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Which it was based off of a teenage graphic novel, so
Oh Jesus.
that would make sense. So I forgot to mention that to you, John. I apologize.
It's okay, it makes sense now.
But still, like,
Everything is
come
kind
There's
of
a lot
on
of
now.
sex.
full circle. I can see the universe in motion around me now. It all makes sense.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. It was something. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend anybody ever click on that movie.
Yeah.
Ever.
I may
Save
have-
yourself.
I may have to give it a watch just to, fuel my masochistic self.
Just so you can go to that lap dance scene and get all excited.
I mean, there's
Oh, yeah.
plenty. You could refresh by the time the next next sex scene shows up.
Good to know.
Yeah, there's enough time where they sit there and talk about nonsense, and then it turns into the sex scene. So, it's just a really long porno.
This is great. That's
No,
what I'm here.
the sex dies off in the second half of the movie. There's no banging in the second half of the movie.
Well, except the lap dance.
Yeah, it wasn't really a lap dance. He was literally being pistol whipped while like
Hey, some people are
this
into
guy
that.
was just straddling him. It was really weird. It was very weird. And none of these people should have been doing what they were doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that's mean.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. Good to
So, yeah. On to the next thing. We have something that's we're a bit more excited for, which is the PS5
That's why I'm
versus
here.
the Xbox Series X. The whole reason why Andy and I literally waited for an extra 20, 30 minutes just to make sure John got on for this week to talk about his thoughts on these two new consoles coming out. When, Andy? When are they coming out?
Holiday season 2020.
Hey, he got one thing
That's all
right.
I got.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go, Andy.
Nice.
I'm excited for the PS5. John is going to try his hardest in the next 15 to 20 minutes to change my mind otherwise, but it's not going to work. You should know by now, John, it's not going to work.
I wouldn't go that far. In fact, I'm probably going to get a PS5 since I have a PC.
Wow. Oh, fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
This is all speculation and rumor that I've heard. I'm going to get like the Xbox Series X once there's like a limited edition Halo, but I'm not in a rush to get it.
Right.
Fair.
Considering that Microsoft
fair.
has made most of their games, play on PlayStation and or be crossplay.
Backwards compatible.
That too. Yeah.
I was actually really happy that they did that PlayStation brought that back, because that was something they got rid of for the PS4 was backwards compatibility. So it was kind of nice that they learned their lesson from PS4 and gave us back the backwards capability. Because that was one of my biggest pet peeves. Like, I had so many games on the PS3 and nothing transferred over, and that was dumb as fuck.
I don't want to rain on your parade, but the reason they did that is because Xbox did that.
That's fair.
Xbox did that.
Oh, I know. I knew. Yeah, I knew that. I knew that Xbox not always has had that, but like that's been like one of their main like pulls, was that they were backwards compatible with other Xbox games.
Well, and that's the thing too, is the PlayStation 5 is only backwards compatible to the PlayStation 4. Versus the Xbox is backwards
That's
compatible to all the way back to 360.
Original. I think it says original Xbox as well.
Oh yeah, and original. Yeah.
So
Ooh,
way back
that's
when.
fancy.
Yeah.
But
So
like,
we get all of our games on our
mean-
new console, and you get just the ones from last gen.
which that's fine to me, because do you know what I don't have is any of my games from PlayStation 3, because I sold them when I sold my PS3 because I couldn't play them on the PS4. So that doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting seeing it. I think it's actually funny right now, the fact that neither of them are releasing a price.
Oh, it's $700.
700. That's
Yeah.
how much they're putting it at.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Yeah.
Maybe $699 if they're gonna take a loss for the initial console sales until like the price of manufacturing goes down, but it's $799.
Yeah. Well, that means I won't be getting it.
Yeah, no.
On my salary. Nope.
In this economy,
In this economy?
couldn't be me.
No. I do love all of the memes coming out with the Wi-Fi router and the trash can
Me
or the
too.
mini fridge.
Have you seen the one where they replaced the Pope's hat with the PS5?
Yep.
It's amazing. It made me chuckle so hard.
I've seen a lot of them because in a group chat I have with a bunch of friends, one day we literally just spent the day looking at PS5 versus Xbox memes.
Man, the internet moves fast. That's all I have to say. Literally within like hours after that press conference was done, there was memes everywhere about it.
Oh yeah, because people, as soon as they got
Absolutely.
the image, all they had to do was open up Photoshop and then think of something funny, and then that's it.
Yeah, I love it. I love
Yeah.
the internet for that one reason.
It's great. People are still coming up with new ones too, and it's so
So-
awesome. But yeah, I mean, looking at the stats though, like the Xbox X and the PS5, like it's a bit different, but it's not enough to really like, matter.
Um,
John's gonna disagree with you.
I well, a little bit. Like, yeah, it depends on like. Part of the problem is if you're going to play 1080p, like most people are
Yeah.
at 60 FPS, because that's what most people's TVs and monitors are. These stats are just way overkill.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's so dumb. If you're going to go to 4K, these stats are pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about the PS5 saying it could do 120 frames, because that requires a lot. Like I have like a $3,000 computer, and your boy struggles to sometimes hit 144K
Yeah.
or 144 frames.
Right. On
So, like-
4K. I mean, it says it goes up to 8K as well. They don't ever specify that you can do 8K at one, because what it looks like here is it looks like 8K with 120 frames. No fucking way that's happening. No way.
No,
It's not
no.
possible to get that
It's
many
gonna
frames
be-
on an 8K if you even have
Definitely
an 8K
not
monitor.
possible.
Yeah, there you go, Andy.
I mean,
I'm contributing to the conversation.
it's future proofing. I'll give it that for going up to 8K, but like there aren't even that many like affordable 4K like TVs on the market,
Yeah,
and it'll probably do 8K at 30 FPS.
at the most. Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
still gonna run so hot too.
Oh yeah, it's gonna run about as hot as me. You know.
Oh well, then that wouldn't be hot at
It's
all.
not very hot, but
Wow. All right. Here we are. Missed you guys.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, I get the future proof and things like that, but I mean, like you said right now, I mean, how many people actually have 4K monitors and 4K TVs? Like,
Yeah.
I only know people that like really went full out on their computer that have it, or that, maybe they got it when they got the Xbox One X, to like play there. But
I have a
again,
total of 4K TVs in my house right now.
Jesus Christ. What the fuck? I'm a tech enthusiast.
We-
And you know how many I have? 0.
yeah,
Well, we have almost a TV in every room now.
but they're all 4K compatible.
Yeah, so all the ones in the living room are, and then the one in Kyle's office is 4K compatible.
That sounds so extra and so like you.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Just like having like a monster 65-inch TV in my bedroom for no reason. It's like my living room can have like a 48-inch TV, but like my bedroom needs a 65-inch, which in the middle of the night when all the lights are off is like as bright as the sun.
that's because it's a
too
4K 64-inch. Like,
No, that one's not. It's just an HD TV. I don't think it's 4K.
oh, okay. I was gonna say
You didn't spring for the 4K one in your room?
that would have made it even brighter.
No.
But
I don't know.
Crazy.
Also, if you think about it, these are probably going to be the last generation, like console generation.
do you think so?
I think so. Just because of the way everything's moving to digital, and both of them are building up a streaming service. So the thing about the Xbox is the Xbox Series X, you don't need to upgrade to the next Xbox to play the new Xbox games.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to stream them on your current generation Xbox to play them. So they're trying to get you more into how Apple does things. They just want you on their ecosystem and playing however you want to play.
Yeah.
Whereas currently the PlayStation is actually working with Microsoft, which is weird, to build up their cloud services. So they're in the process of doing that, whereas the Xbox division of Microsoft has already been doing that. So PlayStation is going to be lacking behind there.
I can
But
see why they would contribute though to each other because you need that competition before it turns into a. I mean, it is a monopoly right now between the Xbox and the PlayStation. Like you have Nintendo off doing like their thing, but like
Nintendo does their own thing.
Nintendo does their own thing. But when you think consoles, you think
Nintendo literally gives no fuck.
right. Like we went from Wii to Wii U to Switch to I don't know what like they're doing. So
Yeah.
but
I
when
don't
you
think
think
they
about
know.
it, the PlayStation, the Xbox, those are like what you think about with consoles. So I can see that partnership because they want to have that competition to keep their prices high.
Well, it's actually to combat mobile gaming because the Xbox is trying to get. So I don't know if I've showed you this video, but it was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that they were demonstrating their Xbox Cloud thing, and they were basically playing Forza. I think it was Forza Horizon on a phone with an
Mm.
Xbox controller attached to it. Like you could Bluetooth sync them, and that's how they were doing that. And that's what they're aiming to do is like bring gaming literally everywhere. As long as you have an internet connection, they want you to be able to play their game.
Yeah, kind of like
Mo-
what with Nvidia Shield and that whole mess.
Yeah, like mobile gaming is actually the biggest revenue share of all of gaming. It's like 34% or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So they're trying to like inch in on that, and then on top of that, with like Stadia, which nobody ever uses, like Google stepping, like once Google starts throwing money at things, that's when you know things are getting real.
Yeah.
So they're trying to like be preemptive about that, so that they're not just like, oh, Stadia has this really cool thing, and we're sitting on our asses.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool. I do believe that this is going to be the last generation of consoles, which makes me a little sad because I like buying my hardware.
Yeah. And
But
then we're
I
all
don't.
gonna just move to streaming.
You can. I like owning my stuff.
I mean, you
Still
can
own
still
it.
buy hardware for computers and servers and shit.
You're right. Speaking of, I think I need another upgrade.
Yeah.
It's my most
Probably.
recent, graphics card just isn't cutting it anymore.
Yeah.
My
I think I
2080
need to
Ti.
upgrade my 2080 Super or 2070 Super that I
Yeah,
got not even a year ago.
I think I need to go. I don't know. There's some cool tech coming out.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about actually upgrading my motherboard because of the new tech, which is something I want to talk about with the PS5, and something that I think they're going to do, which is going to literally blow everything out of the water, even PC, for load times. Let's just preface that with the load times.
Yeah.
So the part where it says it's a custom SSD, I think what they're doing is they're not using a SATA cable, which will limit the speed that can be transferred. They're using, I think they may be using a PCIe slot
Right.
essentially for their.
Gotcha.
I hate you, Andy, so much.
I
They're
keep
gonna
seeing
be.
him trying to chime in.
I know this is where I was like, it's gonna get real fucking nerdy. So I think they're going to be using the fourth generation PCIe slots, which basically means they will be able to transfer data from the hard drive to the RAM at a speed of roughly 50 gigabits per 50 gigabytes per second. If it's the fourth
That's
generation,
so fast.
yeah, it's nuts. And like, if they could do that, then it doesn't matter their hard drive size. You can just upgrade that over time.
Yeah.
But like, if you can establish that type of engineering where it's like, this is what we focused on, making sure our speeds are stupid fast, then
That'll
you
that'll win.
that right there will make single player games have zero load times.
And multiplayer
could-
games even a lot less too. When you
most of
think
that is-
about it though, like, because I remember, like, because we have Xboxes in my house, and I haven't upgraded Destiny on my Xbox yet because I haven't played it ever. I always just play it on PC. But my brothers wanted to play, so I played it on my brother's Xbox, and it's like a super old, like, first gen Xbox One or whatever, like the first one that came out. And
See,
loading Destiny on that literally took 15 minutes, and loading it on here with an SSD takes like 10 seconds. And I think that's the difference too. It's just loading up those games like way faster. That's going to basically what helps the PlayStation 5 win in sales, if it can load it, you know, in a much quicker time. And I think Andy would even agree on that.
Absolutely.
yeah,
Making the load time faster is so important to any gaming experience that you could ever have, you know?
it's literally why I don't play Xbox anymore. Is because I've gotten so used to my SSD that when I try to play on my Xbox, I'm like, why is it taking so long to load?
Yeah, I really try not to
Yeah,
play
you
on
can't
Xbox.
do it because you got used to the SSD, so I get it.
Damn
Totally.
it.
Okay, great. I think we've reached our technical point of this podcast.
Okay.
So thank
I
you
could go
everyone
in more
for.
in depth.
Oh, I know you could. I easily know you could. But thanks for listening to this week of My Village Podcast. You can check us out, myvillagepodcast.com, or follow us at My Village Podcast. I'm Sticky Toaster. You can follow me on anything. One of you guys, Andy, maybe.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at MVP Andy. And, you know, if your load times are slow, just get an SSD and you're good.
I will remove you from this plane of existence. They will never find your body. I'm John Docfro as well.
Nope.
Oh yeah, just ask.
Just
ask. I'm
as.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at and Twitch and yeah.
At Doc Bro. Sweet.
At Docfro, yeah. Just Twitter and Twitch.
All right.
Come at me with specs and we can just go at it for days.
Just tweet them specs.
Tell them
Yeah.
about your SSD.
Yeah. Tell me about that. That's what I want.
Tell them about your load times.
All
How many
right.
times can you load? Oh, that
See?
sounds very inappropriate.
For you, I could do that a lot.
See you guys next week.
Goodbye, everybody.